They came down through the clouds above the Kelveron Basin at first light, and I remember thinking how quiet it was. No warning pulse from the outer sensor net, no scramble alarm on the orbital tier, just the slow, deliberate descent of 7 vessels through a pale sky, ancient hulls trailing ice crystals, their surfaces pocked and dark from a sleep no living being could measure. 80,000 years. That is what the archive puts on the record. 80,000 years since the Archon's Vanguard last moved through this system, since they seeded 17 colony worlds and folded back into whatever the old empire called dormancy. We had the record. We had always had the record. That is the thing they did not know, and the thing that cost them everything. My name is Soren Vale. I was the planetary diplomatic coordinator for the Kelveron Basin sector. When the Vanguard arrived, which meant I was the one standing on the forward platform at the basin's edge with a translation array, a sealed order from the Earth Council, and a view of the largest concentration of human military infrastructure ever assembled in one atmosphere. It is a strange thing to be the calmest person in the room when the room is a continent. The Kelveron Basin had been a glacier 60 centuries ago. The ice sheets pulled back slowly. We have the geological record, the isotope dating, the core samples. When the last of them melted, humanity built. Not recklessly. We built the way water builds a canyon, steadily without hurry, shaping everything we touched because we had time and we intend to use it. By the time the Vanguard's long-range probes would have detected us, we had already detected them. We had been watching the edge of their dormancy field for 900 years. We knew the decay curve. We knew approximately when they would wake. We prepared accordingly. The first vessel set down on the basin floor from 3 kilometers from my platform. It was enormous. A carrier-class hull by old standards, armored in the layered composite the archive called Archon Warplate. I could see the scoring along its flanks where something had hit it in the deep past and never been repaired. It had been asleep that long. The landing struts came down and the craft settled with a sound like a mountain deciding to sit. I keyed the translation array and waited. The ramp lowered. The Vanguard commander came out first, tall, heavily augmented, wearing ceremonial war armor over a frame that had been rebuilt for combat across multiple body types. The archive had descriptions. The reality was close enough. He stepped onto Kelveron soil and stopped. I watched his face through the platform optics. The expression that crossed it was not aggression. It was not triumph. It was the look of a man who has stepped through a door expecting an empty room and found instead a city. He was looking at Vale Station. Vale Station is not named after me. It is named after the geographer who first mapped the basin 3 centuries ago. And I have always found that appropriate, because the station is a monument to patience, and I had nothing to do with building it. It rises 1,100 meters from the basin floor, anchored into the bedrock below the old glacial till, with 6 horizontal defense tier platforms visible from the ground, and a 7th in low orbit that catches the morning sun as a second light source on clear days. The warships docked to tiers 3 through 5 were visible from where the commander stood, not hidden, not performing, simply present the way mountains are present, because they have been there a long time and planned to remain. Above the station, the orbital ring crossed the sky in a slow arc. We had finished it 230 years ago. It takes 47 minutes to pass fully overhead from the basin floor. The commander watched it for a long time. His second-in-command came down the ramp and stood beside him. I saw her reach out and grip his arm, not as comfort, as a steadying gesture. She had seen it too. I activated the translation array and spoke in the Archon's own dialect. The version recorded in our archive is older than anything in their living memory. Commander, you are recognized. Your vessel registration codes match the Vanguard deployment records of the 4th expansion period. Archon Imperial Calendar, approximately 80,000 years prior to this date. You are on Earth. This world is inhabited. The inhabitants are humanity. We have been here the entire time. Silence on the basin floor. You seeded this world, I continued. You left a monitoring post. You extracted what resources you needed and designated this planet a tertiary holding. Too marginal to defend, too primitive to threaten. You intended to return within 2,000 years to assess the colony's development. You did not return within 2,000 years. We kept the record of that, too. The commander turned his head toward me for the first time. Through the optics, I could see his eyes moving across the platform, counting the weapons arrays, reading the defense tier markings on the warship hulls, registering the orbital ring. "What do you want?" he said finally. The translation came back flat and formal. "What we want," I said, "is for you to understand the situation clearly before we proceed. There are 41 of your vessels in this basin approach. There are 207 human warships in atmosphere, staged in tiers, from the surface to the thermosphere. The orbital defense ring is active. Every vessel you brought through the inner system has been tracked, profiled, targeted since it crossed the Kelvaran threshold. You are not in a position to maneuver." Another silence. The second-in-command said something to him in a register the array did not fully catch. I heard the word for miscalculation. "Could not have known we were coming," the commander said. "Not a question. A man working through something. We have known the Archon dormancy fields were decaying for 900 years," I said. "We modeled the probable wake window to within a 40-year margin. We began staging military assets in the Kelvaran Basin 212 years ago. The station you are looking at was built specifically for this meeting, not to impress you, to be honest with you about what you are facing." He looked at the station again, then at the sky, then at the ring. "What happened to the monitoring post?" he said. "We found it in the 4th century. We disassembled it carefully, studied everything in it, learned what we could, and preserved the components in the archive. The archive is why we speak your language. The archive is why we knew your registration codes before you landed. The archive is why you are speaking to a diplomatic coordinator right now, instead of a weapons platform." I let that settle. "The Earth Council's position is as follows. You came here believing this world was a tertiary holding, marginal, peripheral, yours to reclaim. It is not. It has not been for a very long time. We will not fire on your vessels if you accept the following terms. 1. Your fleet stands down completely and submits to escort. 2. Commander and senior staff transfer to the Vale Station archive facility for a formal record session. Your account of the dormancy period, your account of what the Archon Empire was, where it went. We want the record. We are a people who keep records. 3. Your fleet is escorted to a designated anchorage and held, with full provision, until the Earth Council determines the appropriate path forward. No vessel is destroyed, no crew is harmed, but no vessel leaves this system until that determination is made." The commander stood very still. "And if we do not accept," he said. I did not answer immediately. I did not need to. He was looking at the warships on the tiers, at the weapons arrays, at the orbital ring crossing the morning sky above him. He was a military commander. He could read a force disposition. He knew. "Then this becomes a different conversation," I said. "And I would like very much not to have that conversation, because the council gave me this posting, precisely because they believed it would not come to that. They believed your people were not foolish. They believed that any commander who had slept for 80,000 years and arrived to find this." I gestured at the station, the sky, the ring, would understand that the prudent thing, the only reasonable thing, was to talk. He looked at me for a long time. Then he turned to his second-in-command and gave an order. The order the array caught clearly. "Stand down, all commands. Transmit compliance signal." Took 11 minutes for his fleet to go dark. I stood on that platform and looked at the basin floor and the ancient ships sitting in the Kelvaran. Morning light, and I thought about the people who had built this station 2 centuries before I was born, and the archivists 4 centuries before them who had picked apart an alien monitoring post piece by piece and learned everything there was to learn, and the quiet generations before even that who had looked at the sky and said, "They will come back. We must be ready." They were ready. I was only the one who got to say so.